How to be a good homeschool teacher. I got an email from a homeschool mom this morning that kind of broke my heart in a way that has me out here talking to you on YouTube. How to be a good homeschool teacher. I have 7 characteristics of a good homeschool teacher that I pulled my little corner of the internet and I asked these moms that have been on this homeschool journey with me and with their families for a long time, what is it that makes a good homeschool teacher? So we're going to talk about that. And I love a rainbow. So we're going to put right here, good homeschool teacher. It's not intelligence. It's not education. It's not even having the best and finest curriculum out there. What is it that makes a good homeschool teacher? The very first thing that makes a good homeschool teacher is, don't be surprised, love. Love for yourself, love for your husband or your wife if you're married, love for your children, love for your community, love for your God. Love is what helps make a good homeschool teacher, because we want everything that we're doing to be out of a heart of love for our family. When we are focused on loving, we have our kids' best interest at heart, and that is the core of being a good homeschool teacher, a good homeschool mom. And we talk about these things inside my Homeschooling with Grace and Confidence class because it's so easy to get hung up on things like curriculum or page 47. The next thing that is a characteristic of a good homeschool mom is kind of like sisters. Kindness. If you want to be a good mom, a good homeschool mom, teacher, parent, lead with love and then be kind, because love is kind. And when we're trying to educate our kids, if there isn't a good measure of kindness in the mix, then our kids won't want to buy into what it is that we're teaching them. They won't want to press in and lean into whatever it is that is on our homeschool lesson planner. So kindness. The next thing is manners. Please, thank you, you're welcome, oh, you blessed my socks off. Manners, helping our kids, helping our spouse, helping each other. Doing what's right helps make you a good homeschool parent, a good homeschool teacher. Manners trump everything. If your kids or you are not being thankful and they're not being kind and they're not behaving appropriately, appropriate behavior in an appropriate place at an appropriate time, like if you can't check those things off, then you push schoolwork aside and you focus on manners. What makes you a good homeschool teacher, again, is not your qualifications. It's that you're focused on the core of your kids, the core of your home. And when you focus on the core, you can't go wrong, because you're building such a solid foundation for your children that you can build all the academics on top of that. The next thing that helps make you a good homeschool parent is wisdom. Wisdom is kind of like, my hair's gray and I'm not the wisest, like a turnip in the cart, but gray hair brings experience of knowing what works, what doesn't work. And when you apply wisdom to your homeschooling, you know that it's not wise to make your 5-year-old sit at a kitchen table for 6 hours practicing math and handwriting. You know that. Wisdom would tell you that that 5-year-old needs to run and jump and play and build a lot more than they need to actually write on a piece of paper. So using your wisdom, or looking for people that have gray hair that are willing to share how they got where they're going, that is a benchmark of being a good homeschool teacher. Because the reality is that we're all going to do it the way that works for us. Your family is different than my family. Each of my children is different than the other, so much so that whatever worked for number 1 didn't work for number 2, 3, 4, or 5 son. I had to pitch and change according to the child and their temperament, where we were living, what season of life we were in. That's wisdom. And it takes wisdom to look at your surroundings and to be able to say, we can do hardcore academics right now because the weather's yucky, everybody is all in there, their hearts are on fire, they're interested, and we have everything that we need to dive deep on academics. Or we were in the middle of moving across the country in a snowstorm with a dog and a chicken. Maybe we should put academics aside for a little while. Wisdom is a benchmark of a good homeschool parent because you're able to look at the academics of where your child is and match that with where you are in your life and your season and plan accordingly. Less is more, okay? The next thing, benchmarks of a good homeschool teacher, is truth. Truth. Truth is one of those, it's almost a bad word these days, truth. Being a good homeschool mom means that you put on your shoes that are filled with truth. It is truth that you are made perfectly to educate your children. Oh, you may need help. You may need an expert in your back pocket. I personally have 3 mathematicians in my back pocket, and I have copywriters because I'm the queen of typographical errors, but I have copywriters that help me with things like writing. I have a historian or 3 also in my back pocket, and I birthed a scientist. So I've got all these experts in my back pocket. The truth is that you don't have to do it all, and you certainly don't have to do it all alone. There are people around you, either in your physical vicinity or on the internet, that are more than ready to come alongside you and help you in your homeschool journey. So standing on truth is a big, big deal. Don't buy the lies that you can't do it because you don't have a this degree, a that degree, that you can't teach this subject because you have no experience in that. That's okay. Homeschooling is discovering with your children, right? Okay, another benchmark of a good homeschool parent. Are you ready? Can you see? Laughter. A good homeschool mom, good homeschool teacher, doesn't take life too seriously because life is ridiculous. So you want to be good at laughing. I've talked about this in another video before. There are a few seasons in my life that I look back on and I think, wow, I must have just ate lemons for breakfast every morning. One of them in particular, I was almost riddled with depression, and I was in this season that I knew I needed to be more joyful, because you can't fake joy with your kids. They know the difference of you saying put on a happy face while you're like this, right? They see right through that. So I actually wore a jingle bell around my neck for about 4 months, 5 months, with one of those gentle jingle bells to remind me to smile, to remind me to infuse laughter into my day. I'm an oldest child, and I don't really laugh freely like a lot of people do. And so I actually had to work hard at it. And, you know, God had a good sense of humor because he definitely gave me some pretty funny kids. One in particular, his name actually means laughter. And during that same season in life where I was wearing the jingle bell, this child was 2 or 3, and he decided that he was just the laughter machine in the house. So he would start laughing, he would force a laugh. Everybody would be like, buddy, come on, stop. And then he would keep laughing and laughing and laughing until everybody was just in stitches. It was fantastic. So what do we know so far? You are a good homeschool parent. You're a good homeschool mom. You're a good homeschool teacher because you're focusing on the right things. You are putting your heart into everything that you're doing. You're working on being kind. I know we're not always the kindest people. I know I'm not always the nicest person on the planet, but we're focusing on being kind. We're also focusing on manners, making sure that manners and etiquette trump academics. You know you're a good homeschool teacher if you lean on wisdom, your own life experience, but also the experience of others, that you stand on truth, and that you become a laugher. And then the very, very last thing, hey, Miss Ginger, the very last thing is the first thing. If you want to be a good homeschool mom, and this may be where you decide that Becky is not the right for me, but I firmly believe that in order to be a good homeschool teacher, that you have to have rock solid faith. And I don't know how people do it without the Lord in their life, but that for me, that's the core of what makes you a good homeschool parent, because you recognize that you can't do it. You can't do it all by yourself. You actually need supernatural help to make it through the day. So that's it. This is in response to a reader that cried out to me in email, and these suggestions were given by other moms in my homeschool group on Facebook. And I'm so thankful for the grounding of knowing that it doesn't matter when your kids learn how to read. It doesn't matter when they learn how to do their multiplication and division facts. That the date and the year doesn't really matter. But the foundation of love and laughter and joy and kindness and all those things are so important to your homeschool journey. So anyway, that's it. How to be a good homeschool teacher. Focus on the right things, focus on the heart, and I'll see you in the next video.